All right, so here we are, Saturday morning, last full day of the conference. So we're gonna go get breakfast, get coffee, and then there's a talk talking about adoptive families. So that we're gonna go check that out. Being adopted myself, this could be interesting. I'm not really sure what it's gonna be, but I'm thinking it could be kind of interesting. So it is now post-conference. We've been home for a few days now, and you know how it is. You come home and you got to get back to life, and it takes a little bit of time to actually get this video filmed. One thing also, we did not actually sit down and film after Saturday. So we're going to kind of start with recapping Saturday a little bit, and then we will kind of recap the whole conference as a whole. So Saturday, one of the things we did was the forum for adoptive families. And going into it, I wasn't really sure what it was going to be like, but that was something I was kind of looking forward to seeing. And I kind of thought, because as a child who was adopted, I kind of actually thought there would be some more adults who were adopted as children, but in fact, I was the only one. So that was kind of interesting. But it was still really good. It was kind of a casual discussion kind of a thing. Parents kind of sharing about their experiences with their children, understanding a little bit of, what things are affecting their kids that's adoption related versus albinism related, because those are kind of two different things that's happening at the same time. And I was able to share a few insights from my own experiences, which was really cool. I try to be pretty open about my experiences, especially if it's going to help somebody. That was really cool. And, it really kind of got me thinking that this really is a conference for like anybody. Like, it's very good about being like, they've got stuff going on for kids, which is really cool because they have like a chunk of the day that the kids are all fully taken care of. They're doing, I'm pretty sure they actually refer to it as a kids conference.
Yeah.
So families that have kids, it's great because they have a focused time where the kids are doing something, the parents can focus on sessions that, aren't necessarily conducive for having kids with you and things like that. So it's really nice. This was a pretty good forum. It was like an hour long or whatever, but just kind of just talking, sharing experiences. So that was really neat.
I thought it was interesting to hear different people's perspectives, and they mostly talked about adoption. They didn't really talk about the albinism side of it much, which I thought was interesting. I didn't particularly notice that during, but like after, thinking back, I was like, I also thought it was neat that you had opportunity to kind of share some of your experiences. I thought that was good. And one of the moms actually told us later that it had been really helpful to someone else who was there who had heard what Jaya said, and they found that perspective really helpful. So that was good. I felt a little bit out of place because I neither have adopted anybody nor was I adopted, so it was a little different for me to be there, but being connected to her, it kind of made sense as well. So
yeah, I was expecting like more people, and so it wouldn't be quite as like, I really didn't know what to expect.
Me
but it's like
neither.
they start off with like, okay, let's go around the table and say why you're in this session, and I'm thinking,
introduce yourself.
okay, but the direction we were going around the table, Lauren would have been first. And I was like, let me just jump in, because it'd been like, how is she supposed to be like, so I'm here with her, and so I just was like, she's with me. I was adopted. So yeah, they really didn't talk a lot about adoption. There was a couple of things, because all of the other families that were in there, their children had been adopted from China. I was adopted from India. So there are some similarities in our experiences, but it was definitely kind of interesting, because one of the things that is a struggle if you are in a darker skinned culture and you are albino is that you sometimes don't get accepted by your own culture. And I've talked to other people at the conference that were Hispanic or, something like that, where it's like, it's hard to kind of, that's one of the struggles that can kind of happen. And some of these cultures have stigmas related to albino children when these children are born, and that's a lot related to why they were put up for adoption. But yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of discussion, and some of it was just, I don't know, but yeah, there was a lot of kind of sharing their stories of when they went over to go get their child, and some different things, and kind of some of the conversations they've had with their kids about, being involved in things, Chinese things related to their culture, and some different things. And I honestly, like, I think that conversation could have gone for a long time. Because it was only an hour, and it felt like it could have just kept going. And then we did the second research project that was going on during the conference. They do a image of your eyeball, and they kind of had trouble seeing my eye, which was kind of funny because I was like, I don't know. But she looked at my eye, and she's like, your pupil is really pale. And I was like, well, I'm albino, it's supposed to be pale. And she's like, no, even like amongst the other albinos' eyes that I've done, you still have a really light pupil. And I was like, that's kind of interesting, because I'm kind of thinking that might be why I seem to me to have more light sensitivity. Because when we got to the conference, I was expecting to see a lot of people with hats and sunglasses on, and there were people with sunglasses and there were people with hats, but not a lot, and not both.
Yeah.
So maybe I really do have some extra issue going on there. We did lunch after the research, and then
that was pretty good, if I remember correctly. Both the lunches, Friday and Saturday, were very good.
Yeah, I think it was tortellini.
Yeah, tortellini
and chicken.
Yeah.
So then after that, we had a session. I don't remember all the orders of things, but we did a session that was also really good because it was on how we see. And that was a really good session for kind of being able to explain to other people about our vision. The thing that I thought was the most interesting was the lady that led it. She paints. And so she was able to kind of paint she had somebody set up a table of objects from whatever distance away. And specifically that they were unrelated objects, so that, because the goal was to not be able to use any of the tricks that we use to figure it out. So context clues and like, okay, I know what that object is, therefore this one must be this. Different things like that. And so she had somebody else set it up, and she told them to use unrelated things. And so she set her easel up, I think it starts with 20 feet, and then she progressively gets closer and paints what she sees, which I thought was really interesting. Because I do think it's pretty accurate, because it's like, it's not just blurry blobs per se, but at the same time, it's still not enough detail to be able to tell you what it is. So that was kind of interesting. And then they did the same thing with a picture of a face. So she kind of showed what she can see of a face. And that was also interesting. So what were your thoughts on that session?
I thought it was very interesting. I've kind of gotten a general idea of what she had painted, so it wasn't completely foreign concept of what kind of, like, the level of detail versus non-detail based on what you've described. I already kind of had a general idea, but actually seeing the visual representation was helpful. I think more people could benefit from seeing something like that. Just because you can describe something, but actually seeing it is very different. They say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It really is true.
Yeah.
It really is true. That was just neat. And then after the lady kind of went through those two demonstrations describing what she could see and the things that she was able to assume but was trying to block out, those context kinds of things. After she did that, she had a few of friends come up to the front and kind of ask them questions about their experiences with answering questions from people about what they can see, how they see, that kind of thing. So that was also kind of interesting.
Yeah. One that I use a lot is like basically the difference between high definition versus, you know, a TV from the 90s kind of a thing, you know, to kind of explain why the vision's not blurry per se, it just doesn't have a lot of detail. And that was something that a few of those people also used. Or sometimes they would use like photography reference kind of a thing. So, and she gave a lot of information just on the eye in general, which was good. Like for instance, one of the things she talked about was why it is that glasses don't actually help our vision. What glasses correct is visual acuity kind of on the front side of the eye. But what's wrong with our eye is in the backside and, you know, inside. You know, she kind of explained the depth perception, kind of why that's the problem it is. The neurons are supposed to go equally to both sides of your brain. It doesn't. It goes mostly to one side or the other. So that was kind of interesting. Kind of also the fovea is the main part of the eye that is really affected by the lack of pigment, because part of the development of the fovea happens when pigment happens. Without pigment, that part doesn't get developed. And the fovea of your eye is what gives you central vision, which kind of explains a lot. Like that's one of those things I kind of knew at some point along in my life, but I kind of forgot that was a thing that would be like, oh yes, I don't have central vision. Like that might be a thing that people understand. Not so much that they understand, but like, because like you probably don't think about like where your central vision is, but it's kind of like you have your central vision and then you have your peripheral. Well, we don't have central vision, so it's almost like we're always just looking at our peripheral if we want to say. However, my peripheral is also just not good either, so I don't really know what... It's really not. So it's like I'll be looking at something and people will be like trying to hand me something and then they'll realize that like I have not been paying attention. And I always feel bad when like I realize like, oh, you were trying to show me something. I'm sorry. And then later on we did the Minute to Win It, which was just kind of a time of fun, just kind of playing games and whatever. So that was just a good time of kind of interacting with more people and stuff. So that was fun. I think the game that I participated in, our team won, so that was good. I think overall our team won.
Yes.
You know, bragging rights, like whatever. And then we had a pizza party. That was another thing that you could pay for to have. So we went and did the pizza party thing, which was, I mean, you know, it's a pizza party. Sit around and eat pizza. But it was cool because we ended up sitting with some people that we hadn't met before, and we, you know, we really hit it off. So that was really a lot of fun. We kind of got to be pretty relaxed and just kind of actually spend time with the people at the table. And so that was actually a lot of fun. And then they had a silent auction that we went to, like silent auction / dance party, like, I don't even know. But it was kind of the close of the conference, but not the official close. So it was kind of like, it's the last night, let's have some fun. It was a dessert reception also, but all the money then goes to NOAA. So that's one of the ways that they raise money is doing the silent auction, and people donate items to put up for auction, which is really cool.
A lot of the stuff was handmade stuff. There were paintings, and the things I won was a set of microwave, basically hot mat kind of things. It's just a cloth bowl shaped hot mat. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's for like taking stuff out of the microwave so you don't have to like carry it and risk dropping it. So that was nice.
So that's really cool.
Books, shirts, all kinds of stuff, really.
Games, like all kinds of stuff. Noah has a mascot. His name is Spiffy. He's a bottle of sunscreen. his SPF written on him, so that's where he gets his name, Spiffy. So Spiffy was there at the auction.
Yep.
So of course we had to get our picture with Spiffy, you know, and this is very cute. And then the next morning was Sunday, and basically Sunday was the breakfast, goodbye, closing session thing. And so, I mean, that was pretty straightforward. Like, you go in there, they give you your food. But then they had a little presentation, and they announced where the next conference is going to be, which, wonderfully, the next conference is going to be within driving distance of where we live. It's in Columbus, Ohio. So that's great. We're very excited about that, because I'm for sure going back to this conference.